Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In my very last video, I reported that Charles Hoskinson, who is a co-founder of Ethereum and the founder of Cardano, one of the most popular, well-known, important, far-reaching voices in the entire world of crypto, he stated that there are a lot of XRP community members engaging in a grand conspiracy, and he was specifically talking about the improprieties that we've all been talking about as a community, and I've been reporting on as well, having to do with Bill Hinman and the Ethereum free pass speech. You know all this stuff. The fact that Bill Hinman was working with Simpson Thatcher, all the improprieties. And they're fact-based things, mind you, right? So we're asserting things that are based in fact. And Attorney Deaton's been doing a great job articulating this. Endless amount of content on Twitter. I've been reporting what he's been saying on Twitter for almost 2 years at this point. So it's clearly not a conspiracy, and the XRP community didn't take kindly to that. Charles Hoskinson also said that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I covered that in the last video, so I won't dive as deep into that concept in this video. But he, in addition to saying it's a grand conspiracy, and that was during an interview on Tony Edwards' Thinking Crypto YouTube channel. After that, he said, conspiracy or not, none of this matters. All right, that's what the idea that he communicated. All right. And he never, despite, no, it doesn't matter how many facts were presented to him since then, since this started yesterday. He just will not retract the grand conspiracy claim. He won't acknowledge that actual improprieties and breaking of law. He won't say that stuff does matter. He just insists that it doesn't. It looks to me like perhaps he just doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. And it's just unfortunate because I still do respect Charles Hoskinson, but I am very disappointed based on the behavior to this point because it's not a matter of opinion. He's wrong on this. He's wrong on the facts. When it comes to whether or not this is a grand conspiracy, he's wrong on the facts. There is no wiggle room here. There is no opinion. He's wrong on the facts, period. And he just won't admit that he was wrong to say that. And understandably, the community, as a result, is not exactly thrilled. So in the very last video I shared, because I didn't want to put words in Charles Hoskinson's mouth, he wrote a 16-tweet thread, which I covered in its entirety in my very last video, and there was some stuff from Attorney John Deaton along the way, but it was mostly me focusing on what Charles Hoskinson had to say. In this video, I'm mostly going to focus on what Attorney John Deaton has to say, and putting the idea to bed that this could possibly be some sort of conspiracy. No, Attorney Deaton went to great lengths today to explain the specifics of why Charles Hoskinson, frankly, is wrong on the matter. And so you can watch these videos in any order. I designed it that way intentionally. You can watch this first and then watch the one that I put out last. It does not matter. It's not going to change anything. I made sure that I set the table here up front of this video. That's all you need to know moving forward. The rest of it, there should be very minimal overlap in the content. It's standalone content. So if you want to hear Charles' perspective first, okay, you can go watch that video first. If you want to hear Deaton's perspective first, then you're already in the right spot. But whatever order you're watching, it doesn't matter. And I also mentioned, I do want to mention this because I did mention in the last video too. Charles Hoskinson, he initially, earlier today, agreed to go on a live stream with Attorney John Deaton. And then about, I don't know, several hours later, I don't know if it was 4 or 5 hours, whatever it was, he said, nope, I'm no longer interested in doing this. And from his perspective, he laid it out as though it's because he's being harassed too much. And I don't know, like, you're going to find some people that are rude, and I acknowledge that, but I don't think that that's how most of the XRP community has been behaving towards him, as I'm going to point out in this video. I'm going to show you a thread that I think pretty well highlights that. But I also want to declare I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So here we go. There was a tweet from a member of the XRP community. You know, I'll just cover this first. This is from a member of the XRP community. This ended up getting retweeted by Charles Hoskinson. Who again is the founder of Cardano, he's the one who said that, you know, we're engaging in a grand conspiracy here in the XRP community. Well, this XRP community member is not happy with this, and he wrote the following. Can XRP army sleuths please start digging dirt on Charles Hoskinson, especially his days in and around ETH? F them all. Nobody cared for Ripple/XRP/XRP army when we lost money because of SEC/corruption. And so I read that and I was like, I don't like that approach. I think that we need to have a bit more, you know, civil discourse here and to dig up dirt on somebody who clearly, I mean, honestly, if you've been following the SEC v. Ripple case at this point, you know that Hoskinson had very little, he's a co-founder of ETH, but had very little to do with it. And he's been, very pro XRP. Not that he's a member of the XRP community, but I mean that in the sense that, like, in December 2020, he was one of the first to publicly say that XRP is not a security. That wasn't a fashionable thing to say back then. It's not now either, if you're outside of the XRP community, because there's so many Bitcoin maxi idiots, but especially back then. And so Charles Hoskinson had the guts to say, hey, XRP, no, it's not a security. And he articulated the reason why. And I've always given him kudos as a result. And so nothing to take away from those statements. He's right about that. But to encourage the community to dig that up, I didn't think that was the right approach. And so Charles Hoskinson saw that. And it's from an account that has 191 followers. So I'm kind of surprised he even saw this. It's almost like Charles Hoskinson was cherry picking a negative comment towards him. And Charles Hoskinson wrote the following. Great. Now the conspiracy has spread to me. I guess the guy at Ethereum for only 6 months prior to launch who proposed a different distribution and fundraising model is somehow connected to the years after I left. This is really sad and shameful. Really, XRP Army? ? Well, actually, no, not really. In fact, and here's why I'm going to highlight this. And for those of you that are looking at your screen, or if you can, it's worth seeing this. So let's go back to this thread from this XRP community member who says that you should dig up dirt. If you scroll through here, you can see there's a bunch of tweets, including some that are just straight up gifs saying no. Almost, I'll just scroll as I'm talking here. Almost, and you can pause along the way if you want to read some of these. I'm not going to do it. But you can see there are 100, at the time I'm recording this, 111 replies. Almost all of them are telling this guy, your approach is wrong. Saying stuff like lame, hater alert, stuff like that. Calm down. Stuff like this with gifs indicating obviously not. Almost 100% of people that read this were not in favor of this idea. And so Charles Hoskinson seems to have cherry-picked this one. I don't even know how he came across this tweet from an account of that size. It's just amazing that he came across this. And then he posted, did he not read the replies at all? Because almost, again, you can see as I'm scrolling through this, I'm not making this up. Almost 100% of the replies on this damn thing are not in favor of trying to dig up dirt on Charles Hoskinson. And in fact, many in the community, like myself, have been big fans of Charles Hoskinson for years. And I've held Cardano, in fact, since 2017, almost as long as I've been holding XRP, in fact. I continue to hold Cardano. But you can just see, look at all these gifs. It's saying you went a little too far. There's another, that Mr. Bean there just yawning like this. And then there's a bunch with actual text here. There's almost none that are like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try and dig up some dirt. No, it's a bad idea. It's not a good idea. But so, that's, I think I'm almost at the bottom here. I'll just scroll a little bit fast. You can see, and again, you guys can just pause. I'm just doing this in case anybody actually wants to pause and see all this stuff so you can see I'm not making this up. Like, these are all of the comments, and they really are not in favor of this idea. So I responded to that and I wrote the following. Did you read the replies to what you just retweeted? It's mostly a bunch of people in the XRP community disagreeing with him. Of course it doesn't make sense to try and dig up dirt on you. People are just frustrated because you called a bunch of fact-based claims a grand conspiracy and you're objectively incorrect there. If you retract that and acknowledge corruption/improprieties are a problem, then I don't think anyone has a problem with what you've said. Here are the facts laid out by John Deaton. And I shared this thread, which I'm going to get to in just a second here. Tell me which parts of this you believe are a grand conspiracy. Or maybe you were unaware of these facts when you used such language, in which case acknowledging that is fine too. Charles, I'm still a fan. I think you're a huge net plus for the world of crypto, and I've always thought you to be very logical. But I don't understand where you're coming from now that everyone is putting the facts in front of you. Surely you can see the facts now, right? And Charles never responded to me. My stuff got enough likes, and I put up more tweets than just this. I mean, he probably saw at least some of it, even if he didn't pay much attention to it. Maybe he didn't, that's fine. He doesn't owe me anything. But still, there are tons of people conveying similar messages and sharing the facts. How is this even possible that he is unaware of this? And attorney John Deaton on this point also wrote, for the record, one person out of tens of thousands who randomly tweets dig up dirt is not representative of the XRP army, Charles. It's one unidentified person on the internet. I think comments after that person's tweet are people shutting that type of reaction down. This space has become so tribal and unforgiving, it is truly discouraging. The promise of this technology should be bringing the best out of people, not the worst. Good night, crypto Twitter. Pause. Exactly correct. And that's why from the beginning of this, and this is just how I approach stuff like this in life in general, I want to give the person who said the thing that's come under harsh criticism, and deservedly so in this case, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to give them an opportunity to expand upon their thoughts or retract the statement. Which is why I think that insulting people right out the gate when they say something, even if you think that they said something ridiculous and over the line, it's best to be an adult and just hold back your emotions and say, okay, if this were me, if I said something and somebody had that response to me, how would I want to be treated? Which is why it's not a good idea to just be rude to people out the gate. And almost nobody in the XRP community was rude. There were rude people. But, so that's why for me, I was just like, benefit of the doubt. Tell me, why do you believe it's a grand conspiracy? Or now here's the facts. Do you retract that? No, he won't retract a damn thing. He won't. And then here's a tweet. He was talking to Brad Kimes of YouTube channel Digital Perspectives, and he said, I didn't start this, and now with the continued harassment, I want nothing to do with any of it. Best of luck. So there you go. He decided because of the harassment, he's no longer going to go on a live stream with attorney John Deaton, and he thinks that the XRP community just picked a fight with him out of nowhere. What he said, he might as well just said that we're all a bunch of delusional idiots, because what we said is fact-based. It is not speculation. It is definitive. And he says we picked a fight after he said that we were engaging in a grand conspiracy. And after he said that the improprieties don't matter and it's not the point. But he did nothing to start this. He actually believes that? That is astonishing to me. So here's what attorney John Deaton had to say in response. And he retweeted part of Charles Hoskinson's thread in the which I covered in full in my very last video, which read as follows. Thus, it seems totally unnecessary to construct elaborate personal attacks on former and current government employees and also attack Bitcoin for its energy use or Chinese influence. Individual corruption has nothing to do with Howie. So pause and note. What he's saying here, he laid out his case for a number of topics, never retracting the grand conspiracy thing or anything of the sort. And he says it's unnecessary to construct elaborate personal attacks. So we're constructing, so the implication is that we're just making up all of these accusations about these government officials, and it's totally unnecessary, his quote, for us to do such a thing. Well, attorney John Deaton didn't take kindly to that, and for good reason. I didn't really like that tweet from Charles Hoskinson either, because it's not grounded in reality. It just isn't. It's provably the case. In fact, John Deaton proves it right here. Check this out. You're going to love this. This is absolute fire here. Attorney John Deaton wrote the following and while retweeting that from Hoskinson. This is a symptom of the disease that has infected our democracy. The revolving door at the SEC and other agencies has always been an issue, but insider dealing has become so pervasive, high-ranking officials like Hinman mock the law. Read the effing emails. He bleeps that, and so did I. Read the effing emails. Hinman and his partner Bonnie makes jokes about the criminal bar preventing Hinman from meeting with members of his firm. They literally laugh about it. And then he shared a link and he wrote, read. And for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to. I have covered that on the channel before, but just for the sake of time and the fact I've already covered it, I won't right here, right now. Attorney Deaton continues. Read the emails between Hinman and his partner, attorney Lin, from the China office, where Hinman again violates the financial conflicts bar and meets up with Lin. Oh, it gets even better, or more criminal, I should say, when you realize that Hinman's email agreeing to meet with Lin is the same day as a letter that goes out from Division of Corporation Finance about his law firm's client, Cannon. Now, and please listen to this because this is truly absurd and sickening stuff. Check this out. Cannon's IPO was approved by Hinman's division while Hinman was receiving money and profits from the law firm representing Cannon. Pause. You guys did hear what I just said there, right? Attorney Deaton is saying Hinman's receiving money from the law firm right there. And let me just read the sentence again. Cannon's IPO was approved by Hinman's division while Hinman was receiving money and profits from the law firm representing Cannon. Is that not astonishing? Is that a conspiracy or is that cold hard fact, Charles Hoskinson? I think it's cold hard fact, is it not? Attorney Deaton continues. What does Cannon do? and this is why it matters. What does Cannon do? And one of the reasons it matters. They sell Bitcoin and ETH mining hardware. What two assets did Hinman's speech provide clarity to? Bitcoin and ETH. And so, pause. Grand conspiracy, folks. That's what Hoskinson would have you believe. This is all a grand conspiracy. Which of the facts that Attorney Deaton has cited here right now is part of the grand conspiracy? Which of these facts? Could somebody please let me know which of these facts Attorney Deaton pointed out as part of the grand conspiracy? I'd like to know. Really grinds my gears, folks. Attorney Deaton continues. Charles, when you say people are constructing person, and I use that in quotes because that is a quote, that's the word that Hoskinson used. Charles, when you say people are constructing personal attacks on Hinman, you're suggesting or implying that it's all fabricated or made up. That is a slap in the face of people who have fought for 2 years to bring real evidence to the light. When you say something so factually incorrect and attempt to trivialize or minimize the gross improprieties, you slap in the face watchdog organizations like Empower Oversight, who aren't involved in crypto, who fight for transparency and ethics in our government. It's truly sad. What people fail to realize is that the way we regulate our financial markets is dependent on powerful, unelected government officials honoring the financial conflict laws. Otherwise, we don't have a free market system. The law requires you avoid even an appearance of impropriety. Here is a relevant example. Jay Clayton agreed at his confirmation hearing under oath that he would recuse himself from voting against an enforcement action versus one of Sullivan and Cromwell's clients. And I'm not going to play the video clip. It's on your screen streaming silently here. But then Attorney Deaton continues and says, whether you love him or hate him, Joe Lubin made a brilliant tactical move and hired Sullivan and Cromwell lawyers to join Consensus. Lubin hired Pat Berarducci. Am I saying that right? Yeah, Pat Berarducci. He's the global fintech co-ed Consensus, so on and so forth. I just lost my spot again. Yeah, Lubin hired Pat Berarducci from Sullivan and Cromwell and made him deputy general counsel at Consensus and co-chair of the Brooklyn Project. But that's not all. Sullivan and Cromwell also represented Consensus when it acquired Quorum and the JPM coin from JP Morgan. Contrary to Lubin's public comments that Ripple and XRP are not competitors, read from Sullivan and Cromwell's website, quote, JP Morgan will continue to use Quorum to run the Interbank Information Network, a payments network that involves more than 300 banks. What's Ripple do again? And Attorney Deaton shared this screen grab showing examples of, here, more relevant for wholesale CBDC, and there are examples here, crypto assets designed for interbank or interbank payments or settlement, JPM coin, and XRP. So, showing very clearly that the view is that XRP is a competing cryptocurrency for a particular use case, right? Attorney Deaton continues. And on Clayton's last full day at work as chairman of the SEC, he didn't vote against an enforcement action involving his firm's client Consensus, but he did vote to bring one against his law firm's client's direct competitor. So pause to think about that. On his last day in office, you know what he voted for, to bring the lawsuit against Ripple, but he certainly, sure as hell, did not vote to bring an enforcement action against his firm's client Consensus. Again, his law firm, Sullivan Cromwell, client Consensus, in the clear, competitor to XRP. I'm sorry, where's the conspiracy? Where the hell's the conspiracy? It's just facts. These are just facts that happen. Stating the facts doesn't mean that you're articulating a conspiracy. Hell no, it doesn't. Attorney Deaton continues. He filed the case not only claiming Ripple violated security laws when it sold XRP, but that all XRP, including XRP traded in the secondary market, are all unregistered securities, causing the delisting of XRP, which he was warned by Grunfest would happen. Remember, Grunfest helped ETH co-founders navigate early on with the SEC. According to Stephen Nairyoff, Joseph Grunfest acted as a liaison helping ETH founders. He's not biased for Ripple. And it was that same Joseph Grunfest who sent Clayton and the SEC a letter warning that there was no reason to bring the lawsuit, as they were all walking out the door. The point is that our system can't be so fragile and corruptible that all it takes is hiring a specific law firm to prevent being hauled into court. This is why honoring the financial conflict laws must be strictly enforced. And so I'll note, and I did highlight the specific words, the specific example in the very last video of Charles Hoskinson saying, conspiracy or not, none of this stuff matters. None of the allegations of impropriety, that's what he was saying, none of it matters. And I shared his exact words in my very last video. Doesn't matter. That's what people have a problem with, that in the grand conspiracy claim. Charles is factually incorrect, period. And so it's just frustrating to make it out like he's the victim when he's the origin of all this controversy. He's the origin of the controversy, and he's making it out as though he's somehow the victim when he's factually incorrect and refuses to admit any incorrect statements on his part. Refuses to. And so it's just like, my gosh, what do you do with that even? You guys tell me in the comments section below. I'm going to stop here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.